Virginia Hanley, aka Mother Murder. Patient file number 265. Virginia Hanley was a devout Christian, devoted to her community and faith. She gave birth to a baby girl while her husband was ministering abroad. Immediately after birthing her daughter, she entered a severe postpartum depression, where she viewed her daughter as a misshapen monster. Still feeling it necessary to be responsible to her child, but unable to bear the sight of her, she locked her daughter in the basement and chained her to a wall. She filed her daughter's teeth to points so that she could eat the raw human flesh she brought to her. The only interaction with her daughter, who has been called Biter by the media, was to hose her off monthly and bring her children. Virginia would kidnap children from the surrounding community and lock them in the basement so they could be fed upon by Biter. Being the Christian that she was, Mother Murder only preyed on unbaptized children. Virginia shows no remorse for her crimes, still believes her daughter to have been a monster from the very beginning, and has proven to be a very difficult patient to work with for all of our staff. Carla Davinaugh, aka Porcelain. Patient file number 421. Porcelain is on record as the youngest serial murderer to have been tried as an adult. As a toddler, she exhibited all the classic signs of a sociopath and killer, a true rarity in a girl. Neighborhood animals would disappear, and her parents would find animal parts attached to her dolls and stuffed animals. Because they were wealthy, they hired psychiatrists and used their influence to keep the matters quiet. Finally, in desperation, they took all of her dolls and toys away in hopes they would stop her behavior. This obviously did not work. She began sneaking out of the house and going into the nearby woods, where she would kidnap and torture children and animals. She now spent her time sewing and stapling pieces of her new dolls onto her victims. One of her schoolmates managed to escape and led authorities to the small cave where the bodies lined the walls. Carla, or Porcelain as she demands we call her, has shown a great ability to manipulate others' emotions. It has given us many challenges in her treatment. She has even managed to gather a small following of admirers amongst the other patients. Cindy Porter, aka Princess. Patient file number 432. Cindy is a child whose innocence has been taken early. A victim of abuse, she learned only that lifestyle and continued the cycle with her future relationships. Any progress we have made with her has been negated by her adoration of Carla, who calls herself Porcelain. She has allowed herself to be reformed by Porcelain, much to our staff's dismay. Despite the obvious mutilations she has allowed Porcelain to make on her body, Cindy, or Princess as she demands we call her, flies into rages if anyone questions her beauty. Franklin Boxter, aka Cooker. Patient file number 501. Franklin Boxter was a long-time employee here at St. Christina's. He was the institution's cook and dietitian. Every member here at St. Christina's goes through an exhaustive psychiatric interview and assessment. Mr. Boxter was able to pass all the exams with flying colors, and his education in this field was outstanding. It came as a surprise to all of the staff that he was using his position to supply some of the more vicious of our patients with things that they craved. It was by chance that a witness saw him around a neighboring soup kitchen, abducting homeless victims. Victims he was apparently using to feed Biter and collect parts for Porcelain. His trial was a mere formality. It was obvious where he belonged. Now he resides with us, getting the best treatment possible at St. Christina's. The Suburb Slayers, aka Stalkers. Patient files number 408, 409, 410, and 413. One of the most remarked upon cases we have within our walls is that of several members who were brought here. They were all funneled through the criminal justice system, and each found insane by the courts and every psychologist who interviewed them, even the prosecutors. Formerly members of a violent gang that sprouted oddly enough in the suburbs, they led a life of vicious attack and massive drug use. From all accounts, there was not a drug they did not attempt, and many of the drugs were attempted in the same sitting. So vast was their use of illegal, hallucinogenic, and addictive drugs that their brain chemistry was altered permanently. They hunt as a pack, thrive off suffering, and seem to revel in any amount of fear that they can inspire. Some of our staff has expressed completely baseless theories that they have a hive-like mind and can sense the others as they search for new prey. Isolation has no effect on them, and no treatment used has yet made any difference in their violence. Our only solution, as of yet, has been to use extremely high doses of sedatives that would kill most other people, and just try to keep them subdued. Dolores McInerney, aka Crazy Cat Lady, patient file number 415. Dolores was the kindly neighbor who loved adopting stray kittens and feeding local feral cats. She ran a boarding house for the elderly and felt the cats provided a comfort to those she cared for as they neared their end. It was convenient that the cats also provided her an easy means of disposing of the bodies of her victims. Tiring of the constant changing of bedpans, cleaning sheets, and feeding, she smothered her victims in their sleep and fed them to her cats. For her efforts, she continued to collect their social security checks. Not without some remorse, she would name the cat that consumed the largest portion of victim after the deceased. When arrested for her crimes, it was found that an elaborate maze and cat perch system was built throughout the home made completely of her victims' bones. Oliver Bandel, patient file number 208. Mr. Bandel suffers from the most severe form of delusional paranoia I have ever come in contact with. Doctors from around the world have come to study his condition and try to determine a way to help him. His paranoia manifests as a creature of the most violent nature that stalks him and his loved ones. He was found by police cowering in his apartment with every light and candle burning. Every resident of the apartment building had been slaughtered and ripped apart. Due to his obvious insanity, he was incarcerated here. Numerous cutting-edge pharmaceuticals and therapies have been attempted, but nothing has been able to pierce the elaborate and frightening delusion he lives in. He truly believes in his own personal demon, and that it waits for its final visit to him.
Oliver Bandel and his pet monster. I love this guy more now that he's dead. His whining and crying through the night kept my dreams right where they should be. But when he died, well, he killed himself with his imagination, and you gotta give a guy credit for that. What leapt from his dying mind and ruined brain was this nightmare made flesh. I like to call him Chester. Well, you'll see why.
Grover Burgess, patient file number 308. He was small and shy. School and hospital records show us that he was the victim of bullying so severe that you can only feel pity for him. There is no indication he has ever had a girlfriend, or, for that matter, friend, in his entire life. His home life was without compassion or physical affection. In his late teens, he was attacked viciously and hospitalized. His injuries were so severe, he spent the next year in traction and endured repeated surgeries. The beatings he had taken had damaged his nervous system beyond repair. He could no longer feel pain. After healing and being released, he turned from being prey to being predator. Grover would continue his timid manner and draw out the predator in the bullies around him. Then, he would viciously cripple and kill his would-be attacker. Grover was arrested shortly after he entered his high school locker room containing the entire football team. He carried a bat with nails driven through it. He was the only one who walked out. Bloody footprints trailed behind him.
Here's a little fella. His name's Grover. He has spunk. Be nice. Don't glare. And everything will be all right. Well, maybe not. See, not only did his nerves get damaged, so did his brain. You look dangerous, and he is gonna come for you. Hard and fast. This kid can hit, and doesn't care if he breaks his hand doing it, because he's laughing as he drives his splintered bones into your face. I gotta say, the bat thing was a nice touch.